Welcome everybody to Morris Versum, where we talk about everything death metal. Today's going to be more of a ranting video about my opinions on the state of deathcore vocals. Make sure to like and subscribe, and with all that out of the way, let's get into the video. Alright, so like I said at the beginning, I'm going to go through this without much of a script. I'm going to freeball a lot of this. I'm going to talk about some things I like and some things I don't like. I'm going to start off by saying I straight up do not enjoy the vocal gymnastics of the state of deathcore vocals nowadays. I don't like how vocalists are doing all of these cool, crazy things, and they're making all of these weird noises. The goblin vocals, those are cool. If it doesn't add anything to the song, to the music, if it doesn't do anything artistically, then I don't care about it. It takes away from the music, it takes away from the artistry, and it only serves just to get normies that don't listen to heavy metal to be like, oh my god, that is so crazy and weird. You listen to that? Oh my god. I hate it. I can't stand it. All right. Now, some bands are more egregious than others. And what sucks is the bands that do these, they're very talented. They're very good at writing songs. They are capable of making some very great, tasty, just from front to back albums. But when they stop to do breakdowns or do something that is just these vocal gymnastics, it just kills it for me, kills the vibe. And that's not to say that that's every deathcore band. The new Whitechapel album coming out, I'm going to do a whole video on, it's going to be the next episode of my lyrical analysis videos. So look out for that. It drops at the recording of this video. It drops in a few days, I think. But if you haven't looked at the lyrics of Hymns of Dissonance, I don't want to give too much away. But to OGs like me, from the somatic defilement days, it is just chef's kiss. It is just fucking so good. There's so many callbacks, Easter eggs. And again, I'm super excited to do that video. And Whitechapel, and from everything we've heard from this new album, is straight up deathcore, right? They're bringing back from when deathcore first started out as a thing at the beginning of the genre's timeline, I would say. But then you get bands like Infinite Annihilator are pretty egregious. Netherwalker, who else? Lorna Shore, to a certain extent, also does this. And I would be a huge Lorna Shore fan, much more than I am, if they didn't do these vocal gymnastics things that I keep talking about. And a lot of people, this Netherwalker clip from the song has gone super viral. And I'll play it for you now so that you understand what I'm talking about. Now, let's contrast that with some other deathcore bands that are, in my elitist opinion, are doing it right, where it serves the music and they're making a piece of art. Now, there seems to be a theme with the bands that I'm talking about that are doing this kind of vocal gymnastics things, and that is that they also incorporate orchestral elements in their music, whether it's like a choir or an actual orchestra. And I'm going to tell you, also not a fan of that. Um, Mainly because it is so clearly kind of overproduced. And there's bands that I like that do this, but if they didn't do it, I would like it way more. Like Mental Cruelty, I would be the biggest Mental Cruelty fan if they just took. And I know it's like kind of an integral piece of how their writing process and how they actually create their songs, but I just think it takes away, and it takes away from their talent and their ability to write songs that for me are most enjoyable. And again, Lorna Shore do this a lot. Mental Cruelty is another one, and this Netherwalker band, they do that. And that's not to say Mental Cruelty does the vocal gymnastics things, though you can say that they kind of dip their toe into it a little bit. But I mean, I'm just saying there's a through line with that. Bands that incorporate all of those orchestral elements, they do tend to do that. So call me old fashioned, call me a normie, call me whatever, hey, it's the metal community. Everyone's got an opinion and everyone's wrong, right? That's just how everyone thinks. But the point of this channel is to try to cultivate a community where everyone can come together and express their opinions, and everyone has thick skin. And it's perfectly okay if you're into this sort of stuff. I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. All right. If you think when all the music stops and they do a weird off time tempo breakdown and the vocals are just noises coming out of someone's throat, if you're into that, that's cool. But it's just not for me. Another aspect of this, though, that I severely dislike, if you watch videos, I could try to find the video I'm about to talk about where the guy from, don't want to get his name wrong, but I usually would know it off the top of my head, where he's recording the vocal tracks to one of their albums. And basically, he's sitting on a bed, crisscross applesauce, and he's got the mic, and he's super hunched over, and he's just doing like the most quiet fry vocal. And the difference between listening to him do the live recording and from what you hear that on the album of that same recording is night and day. I really that kind of ruins it for me, because I'm an old school, and I watch Kardashev Academy. If you go to, I'm sure you've seen him. If you've seen my channel, you've seen him. He talks about vocal analysis, and he's an actual vocalist, and he talks about false chord vocals, the fry vocals. The guy's a genius. He does vocal lessons as well. Go check him out. But the fry vocal, where he's just sitting on the bed and it's super quiet and you can barely hear it going into the mic, and he's just trying to make weird noises with his mouth. And then when you hear the end product, you could tell it was overly produced, and it took a lot of work on a computer to get it to sound like that. I'm more of a like false vocals. You're putting your like your whole fucking heart and soul and energy into recording it. If you watch Phil Bozeman from Whitechapel do his live recording of Hymns of Dissonance, it's visceral. You can, Visceral Retch is another song on the upcoming album that Whitechapel's doing. You watch that and it gets you pumped up. Watch Alex Terrible. From Slaughter to Prevail. He does these videos where he's just walking around a room and he's just doing vocals to his songs, and he's fucking yelling, veins popping out, and fucking, beating his chest and shit. That gets me pumped up. That type of vocal style. And then when you listen to the actual end product on the song, it comes through. and it's believable because it's true. Whereas with what I was referencing, how he recorded the tracks, it just kind of ruins the end product for me because it's less believable. I can't get into it. It doesn't elicit any sort of like emotions from me because I don't feel like there is much emotion put into it, if that makes sense. The musicians are super talented, the vocalist is super talented. It's just some of the artistic choices they make, I can't really get down with them. And that's perfectly fine. Again, I don't want to yuck anyone's yum. They're not making the album for Jake and Monica, right? It's not making it for me. And I would be super interested to hear what you guys think of this. I'll try to include some of the video references that I'm talking about. I would be really interested to hear other people's opinions because in my line of work, like I go to work, I have a normal job. No one else really listens to death metal. I would just be very interested to hear in other people's opinions on what they think about this because I kind of feel like an asshole expressing these kind of what I feel like would be an elitist opinion on this type of stuff. But at the same time, you know, I like what I like, I dislike what I dislike, and I just want to know if other people out there agree with me or if I'm on an island all by myself. Thanks for watching. Until next time.